Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Waterboys College Football Evening Show. Hope you're having a wonderful, beautiful start to your Saturday. Morning, bud.
Morning.
Big day.
Big old day. Big old grand day. You know what I mean? I'm really, I don't know what I feel. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm just, I'm like, whatever. I know I'm not going to be able to sleep well. I'm just going to lean into it. Felt like I was having a heart attack before I was going to bed last night because I was getting a little anxious. And I actually sat down last night. I do this every year. And I always forget how good it is. HBO dropped the documentary, I don't know, like 15 years ago about the game and some like the history of the game, kind of walking through, you know, how it started, kind of the whole point of Ohio State and Michigan's hatred of each other, dating back to, I think it was like 1850 or 1860 or something like that with the Toledo Strip. And then it talks about, all the coaches and everything that made the game so special over the years. And it just really gets you going. Like, it makes you appreciate what rivalry week is. So, yeah, it's going to be a big day.
Yeah, very big day. A lot of rivalry games today. Had a big one last night. We've got a few that we're going to be covering, and then we've also got a couple of coaches that are in the spotlight today for two very different reasons, but they both have one thing in common. They know how to make a headline or two.
That's very true.
My gosh. So let's get right into it. First thing this morning, I saw from an LSU insider that we personally know that we're affiliated with and have had on this show. Expect some news today is what he was saying. Is Lane Kiffin on the clock? Is from everything that I could find, Lane Kiffin right now is on the clock on whether or not his journey at Ole Miss will continue through the college football playoff. I think Ole Miss is doing absolutely the wrong thing here. I think they put Lane Kiffin in this situation a couple of weeks ago, and then to double down on it and say, Lane, we want to know. We want to know if you're going to still be here next season instead of letting him coach through the season like he should be allowed to, and then make his decision. And now you put him between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. No, it is kind of a weird way that Ole Miss has gone out and handled this. And I think, I feel like it's unprecedented like uncharted waters to a sense, So, I mean, Ole Miss is doing the best they can do here. Like, there's never been, as far as I'm aware of, there's never been a team that is probably going to be, do they move up over Texas A&M after A&M lost yesterday and move up to, number 6, number 5, whatever that might look like. And depending on what happens today, in the Iron Bowl, if Alabama loses, Ole Miss is definitely a top 5 team. So I can't think of a time where I've seen a team that is on the cusp of making a really good postseason run have a coach that might not be there next year or even a month from now. And so I think LSU is doing the best they can. They're like, we don't know what to do here. We don't know what we're doing here.
I mean, normally, it'll happen if a coach is leaving before a bowl game. Depending on the situation, it's usually after a loss of a season where, we went from I'm going to play in the college football playoff to, okay, we're going to play in the Liberty Bowl. Sorry, just letting you know I'm leaving. But I know Ole Miss fans don't want to hear this, and I understand that there's two guys here on the show. For those that don't know, I am a University of Oklahoma fan. I'm worked with the program for a long time. Stress obviously an Ohio State fan, so I know what I say, what I'm about to say. Two guys of our fandom saying this sounds very elitist, but they don't give away college football national championships. I understand that sounds elitist coming from a show that has two guys on it right now with 17 between the two of us, but they don't give them away. And we have both gone in our school's history stretches where you thought we might not ever get another one. Like, it can happen at blue bloods, quote unquote, that have everything that you need to win a national championship. Ole Miss, you might not get another chance, because a couple of the guys that I thought, hey, if Lane leaves, man, and Eric Morris at North Texas or an Alex Golish at UCF, these guys, or USF, these guys will be there. These guys have got jobs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, the coaching landscape right now is not fantastic if you are out on the market for a head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that there's just so many open, and I mean, there's still major programs out there that don't have their guy yet, right? Like Penn State is, right up there with, the Floridas and the LSUs. I wouldn't put them with the LSUs, but I would put them closer to Florida. Like that's a primetime job. That's a team that was almost in the national championship last year. One of the best programs in the Big Ten. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And I mean, like, I don't really know who is left out there that is like a coaching name that we've been high on for the past month or so. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm still holding to, and I think Lane Kiffin's going to do this. I'm still holding to, I think Lane Kiffin's not going anywhere.
But then why not just come out and say it?
It's Lane Kiffin. He loves the attention. What are you talking about?
I get you, and I understand. But at some point, you either live long enough to see yourself become the hero or the villain. And this has turned a corner as of last week, where Lane is now the villain. Because, and for those of you that are like, well, that's, you can ask whatever question you want to ask in a press conference. You can. I have sat in Division I press conferences. Before the coach gets in there, they will tell you, hey, we're not saying you can't ask something, but we are saying,
don't ask this question.
Don't ask the question.
Yeah. Did you see that altercation he had with that reporter that said something about you can't turn a hoe into a housewife?
Yeah.
He like almost got a fight with this guy. The guy's like, I'm like, Lane, use your brain. He's not calling you a hoe. He's saying that coaches that job hop, you can't turn them into a coach that's going to stick around. That's what he's saying here. He probably should have used a different,
not the greatest analogy
for it, but the fact still remains, like, Lane Kiffin has not been the most loyal to programs over the years and stuff. But I still think that what Lane Kiffin has done this season, I do think that he has kind of earned some of that media attention, not necessarily villain, but I think he has slowly become a villain over the the last, like you said, the last week. But I mean, his Twitter was kind of weird last night. It was like I don't know if you want to call it like a divorced dad or something. I don't know what to describe it, but he was like posting, it was cool to see. He was posting with the guys like at the back of their bus with the Egg Bowl trophy, just kind of like laying back, had the Egg Bowl trophy, kind of holding on to it. And then he posted another one of the Egg Bowl trophy with like this background, maybe in like his home office or something. It had like a photo of his dad, off to the side, and his dad was
Yeah.
like giving the thumbs up, and he's like, "Pops, wish you were here to help me make this decision." I was like, "What do you mean? You're choosing between two college football programs. One you currently have in the top 5, top 6, and another one that is perfectly set to be that in the coming, years. And they're both offering you $13 million. They're both offering you $25 million on spending on your roster. Like, what are you talking about? This is not a hard decision. You do I don't know. I still think he's going to stay where he is. I think he's going to be in Ole Miss next season, and I think he's going to take the Rebels on a postseason run this year.
Yeah, and at some point you're also not helping out LSU by, because the narrative now will be that LSU went and stole Lane Kiffin if he goes to LSU.
Yeah.
That ain't fun.
No. And it'll be definite villain arc.
Oh yeah, I mean, I live in Oklahoma City. The entire state of Washington, specifically Seattle. We've had the Thunder have been here for 15 years. And I mean, I meet people from Seattle that are still, oh, y'all stole our basketball team. You're like, oh, there's like some nuance to that, but
there was a lot that went into that.
I mean, you guys don't want to build a new arena, but that's where it'll be. And if he stays or if he goes, LSU playing Ole Miss is going to be very interesting next year, one way or the other. So, again, we heard from LSU insiders early this morning down in Baton Rouge. We've got some connections to expect to hear some news today, which means they're not going to wait till Sunday. He's going to talk about it today, so that could happen. Also, other coach, other thing that is trending, if I can find the I didn't see this coming. Boy, we waited all year for A&M to crap down their own leg.
It almost happened a couple times. But they were not playing South Carolina last night.
No, A&M really came out of that game. And I understand that they were in a hard place. You're 11-0. This game means nothing for you in the national championship conversation at all. This changes nothing about your season. You're locked into the college football playoff. Like, you're locked in. And now there's really, I don't know who's going to play for the SEC championship. This is going to get really weird after the end of this weekend. But the worst place to be, we were talking about it on the show this last week. The worst place to be is to have to go in and play a team that's got way more to pay for, and they're backed into a corner, and they need this win worse than you. And Texas needed this win in their heads worse than A&M. Now,
yeah,
I don't have a problem with the Texas beat A&M. If that's what's going to happen. This is college football. This is a weird year. There's a lot of parity. Two narratives I will not put up with this week. Arch Manning played great, because we're going to have to redefine what playing great is as a Division I college quarterback now. And this will come up again later in the pregame show. We're going to have to redefine that, because if 14 for 29 for 179 yards is a great game, if that's a great game,
that's not even 50%.
Then what Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray did at the University of Oklahoma the years that they were there puts those guys in like legendary dynasty mode.
Yeah.
Because they would have more yards. Those guys would throw for more yards and a better completion percentage in a loss.
Yeah. I mean, there are games where Julian Sayin has more touchdowns than incompletions.
Yeah. I mean, this is wild.
Yeah. What are we talking? I feel like we've gone from, specifically with Arch Manning, and we'll get into this more too here, in a little bit, but we've gone from like he is going to be the greatest quarterback we have ever seen in college, to we're grading this guy on a curve. He completed 1 out of every 2 passes he threw. Like the swing on how we've had to react to Arch Manning this season has been very bizarre. Very bizarre. And even that touchdown pass that he threw, that like he almost overthrew Ryan Wingo in the back of the end zone. Ryan Wingo was open that entire play. And then Arch like leaves the pocket and almost crosses the line of scrimmage and throws a wounded mallard, almost overthrows him in the back of the end zone. It was his only opportunity at like a touchdown pass. I don't know. It was bizarre. Yeah, I think this one that game was all on the running back's back. Wisner, he had a great game. Like they ran the ball really, really well, and their defense played really, really well. This was Arch Manning had
figured it out early. Like kudos to Texas because they figured out really early they could run right in between the tackles as long as they kept stuff tight in the blocking scheme and didn't let Texas A&M's linebacking core, make plays. As long as they were okay with 5 to 7 yard, rushes at a time, as long as they were content with that they were going to be able to keep this game dirty and ugly. And kudos to them for figuring that out. But I mean, come on. So I just looked it up. 48.3% completion. What are we doing?
That's really bad.
Like 40. I mean, this is wild that we are now
really bad.
saying this is a great Arch Manning, great game. How'd he do?
Well, he ran the ball well.
Ran really well. But we're going to say now 1 out of every, as long as every other pass is a completion, that's a good thing. Like, come on.
Yeah, it is wild.
And A&M did not play well. A&M played a lot like a team that was scared to lose and not like a team that was going out there looking to put their foot on somebody's neck and make a statement nationally.
Yeah, and it's tough, too, to see. I think Marcel Reed played himself right out of New York City.
He did, which is really sad.
We've talked about this ad nauseum, it feels like, on the show. This is if the Heisman Trophy goes to a quarterback this year, it will be the most underwhelming quarterback season from a Heisman winner that I can think of. I don't think there's a single quarterback that has even 4,000 yards of total offense yet. And so, I mean, the fact that Marcel Reed played himself out of Heisman contention in a year where it feels like they're just going to give it out to a quarterback is really tough. Really tough. But again, I mean, I think people have forgotten how stout and how solid that Texas defense is. I think a lot of us looked at the way that Arkansas kind of scored at will against Texas's defense last week, outside of a few drives here and there. But I think what we're forgetting is that Arkansas has one of the most explosive offenses in the SEC. Their issue is that they can't stop anybody else from scoring.
Right.
And I think, we were comparing A&M's offense to Arkansas's offense, and I don't think that was a fair comparison. And two, I think another part of it was the schedule that A&M played. They didn't play a top half of the SEC team until last night. And we saw exactly what happened when they did play a top half of the SEC team. So, I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting. I think it was just a bizarre football game. And again, I wonder too, it was in Austin. I wonder how it would have been if it was at College Station. I wonder, if A&M was the home team, would the game have looked any different, anything like that? But again, I mean, that's just all, it is what it is.
Before we get to the other half of the story from this Texas A&M game, with some comments by Sark. Real quick in the comments, Archie Manning is going to turn the Saints around. He's not. I hate to break it to you. Spencer Rattler is a better quarterback than he is, and was a better quarterback than he was in college.
I think Tyler Shuck's starting for them right now.
Yeah. So it's not going to happen. Yo, what's up, my favorite YouTubers? Thank you. Good morning. How are you? Interesting. Is there a job in the NFL for Arch Manning?
I can think of a couple. Yeah, the Raiders is the first one that comes to mind.
They would probably take it because their owner's a moron, and he would he'd like the eyeballs. There are better quarterbacks coming out next year. We're of the opinion Arch has to stay now. He has to. If he comes out now, it's just not. I mean,
it would be very dumb. I mean, I feel like Arch maybe has lost money either way. But again, somebody pointed it out in the comment section. Let's see. Arch has definitely turned a corner here. Cody Barnes. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. Even though it wasn't the best performance last night, he has looked much better in the month of November than he has looked all season long.
Yeah, he went from a not good college quarterback to an average college quarterback.
Yeah, and I think
I'm not saying that as a negative thing, but he became serviceable.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think too, this Texas team has kind of built some momentum. And if there is a world in which they get into the playoffs, which we'll talk about that too, I don't think that there is, unless some catastrophes happen between now and then. They could maybe do something, but I really doubt it.
Rocky Arch could start on the Browns yesterday. Y'all crazy. Sanders was 11-12 with the college. Okay. Sanders is the exact reason we're saying that he should not come out this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Has anyone thought this worked out great for the Cleveland Browns?
Hey, he's 1-0 as a starter.
He is.
And I think I would argue, yeah, Shador is probably a more talented quarterback than Arch Manning. Better arm, at least.
Yeah, better arm. They both process information too slow. But for the most part, yeah, they're not a whole lot of differences. But again, I'm going to keep coming back to, as a University of Oklahoma fan, I have high standards for the quarterback that gets to start at the University of Texas. I don't understand why Texas fans, the national narrative has come down to, he's doing pretty good. It's like, man, we're not talking about, we're talking about one of the biggest brands in college football.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the 5 biggest brands in college football, and it was a great night after you completed fewer than 50% of your passes for 1 touchdown in a rivalry game, in a gotta-have-it rivalry game. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. And I think kind of the conversation that has started to revolve around Texas, and I've gotten pretty fed up with it. The things that people are posting about Texas on Twitter and the things that they're saying, and I think that's the next half of this conversation. Steve Sarkisian's comments after the game. I swear, this is a phenomenon that only happens in the SEC, and I am beyond tired. I have not heard a single Big Ten coach get a post-game live on the field reaction where they get to argue their case for why their team should be in the college football playoff. I have only ever seen this from Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. I've only seen it from these head coaches, and it drives me nuts.
Well, ESPN's got the college football playoff.
Oh, 100%. That's a part of it. That's a part of it.
And they got the SEC conference.
And Steve Sarkisian last night got to go on the, kind of the same thing that a lot of the media on, Twitter specifically, and I think a lot of people, here on YouTube, which, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button. We just passed 1,000 subscribers yesterday, so thanks so much for being here. Steve Sarkisian went out and said, why they can't punish us for playing a team like Ohio State week 1. da 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 da. And that's kind of the sentiment that's gone on around. Texas has 3 losses. Everybody says Texas should be in the college football playoff. They shouldn't punish Texas for scheduling that game week 1 against Ohio State. All of this jazz. And I am so beyond tired of that conversation. Because do you know who else was a part of that week 1 game between Texas and Ohio State? Ohio State. Texas was the preseason number 1 ranked team. Everyone thought Ohio State was going to take a step back this year. Do you know what happened? Ohio State went out, won that football game. But since that football game has happened, what has happened between the two of those teams? Ohio State hasn't lost a game. Texas has lost 2 more games. You schedule that game against Ohio State out of conference week 1 so that when you win that game, you can survive a bad loss to a team like Florida. But if you lose that game week 1, that out of conference game week 1 against another top 5 team, you don't get afforded the loss to a team like Florida. You don't get that opportunity. You have to win that game week 1 in order to get that, that loss a little bit overlooked when you lose to a team like Florida. You had every opportunity to not go out and do that. If you did not lose that game to Florida, you'd be fine. But you didn't. So that was 3 losses. Now you're trying to claw your way back. And I'm tired of this conversation about punishing a team like Texas for scheduling that week 1 out of conference game. Because you know what you could have done? You just won the game. Plain and simple. Just go out and win the games that you have on your schedule. That's all anyone can ever ask you to do. Texas A&M couldn't do it. They couldn't go out and win all their games on their schedule. They're going to, get punished for it. Obviously, they were 11-0 coming into this game, so it's going to be a little bit different. They're not going to be punished, so to speak. But I'm just I'm tired of this narrative that is, well, Texas should have just scheduled, Chattanooga State or whatever, some bogus week 1 game. And I'm just no, keep the games that you have on your schedule. Just don't lose them.
I'll give him this. The idea to try to spin the narrative that the reason we're going to get taken out of the college football playoff is because we scheduled a hard team in Ohio State at the beginning of the year is a very interesting narrative that I am not 100% sure he came up with on his own.
No, he did not. That was a talking point given to him from Paul
100%.
Feinbaum.
Because no one is saying, boy, Texas is going to get left out of the college football playoff because of that loss to Ohio State. No, we're saying it's because you lost to a terrible Florida team, and it took you an overtime to beat Kentucky. That's why.
And then you got curb stomped by Georgia by 25.
Yeah, and anybody, the national narrative has been that the Oklahoma-Texas game was a turning point for both of those seasons. The national narrative was, hey, Oklahoma's had a really good season up until now. They've really done well, but man, look at what's left on their schedule. They got to go to Knoxville. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. They've got all these terrible, hard games. Man, Oklahoma's had a great season, but it's about to be over. And Oklahoma wins all the games that they got to win. They lose to Ole Miss, and they lose to Texas. And they lose to Texas with a quarterback who had just literally had surgery on his hand 8 days before.
Yeah.
So if the playoff committee is looking at Texas's schedule, and unfortunately for them, they're directly comparing it to the team that is north of them and is close in the polls and has a head-to-head, and they're looking at it and going, Oklahoma had the hardest schedule in the entire country at the beginning of the year. They had to play more top 25 teams than anybody in the country with a quarterback who's been hurt since week 5.
Yeah.
And you figured out how to win games you're not supposed to win. Oklahoma not supposed to win in Tuscaloosa, not supposed to win in Knoxville. And they go in and win those games. Then you're looking at Texas and going, you guys had a much easier schedule. You didn't have to play a whole bunch of top 25 teams. You got the luck of the draw in that, and you lose to a bad Florida team. You barely beat a bad Kentucky team that took an overtime, and you got crushed by Georgia. The Ohio State game is not even in this conversation. Nobody's looking at this game as the reason you're going to get left out of the college football playoff. Nobody.
No, not at all. You don't get rewarded just off the fact that you scheduled hard games. Yeah. You get rewarded when you schedule hard games and win those games. Like, just because you're also not getting punished for scheduling hard games if you lose them, because the way that you lost to Ohio State, you lost by 1 score. Granted, that was the worst version of Ohio State that we've seen the entire season, because since then, Julian Saint has improved. The offense has gotten so much better, all these kinds of things. But again, you lost to the number 1 team in the country by 1 score. If anybody watched the game, Ohio State's defense really took the foot off the gas pedal with like 9 minutes left. They were up 14-0 with like 10 minutes left in the game. It wasn't close, but score says that it was closer. It wasn't close, but you lost by 1 score. The committee is going to overlook that if you don't lose to Florida.
Yep.
They'll overlook the loss to Georgia if you don't lose to Florida. Like, it's not about the good teams that you lost to. It's about the bad team that you lost to. And did you lose to a bad team? And I just, like, every year we have this same exact conversation. Last year we had this conversation with Ole Miss. And it was more of the same. It's like, what are we doing? You lost to a bad team. You didn't win 10 games. I don't know what to tell you. Like, Texas is 9-3. There wasn't a single 9-3 team that made it to the college football playoffs last year. Not one.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And if Texas got, some breaks, or they could have lost against Kentucky and they could have lost the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah, probably should have.
Like, Texas, and I'm going to say this is going to sound like a homer. I think if you gave Texas Oklahoma's schedule, I think Texas has 4, maybe 5 losses right now.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I don't think Texas beats Alabama. I don't know that Texas beats Tennessee. I mean, given the time of the year that the game happened, I could see Texas maybe pulling it out against Michigan. But if they played Michigan this month, I don't think that Texas would win that game.
No, I don't either.
But they're in the big bad SEC, and week in and week out, it's the hardest conference to play football games in. All that jazz, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Win your games. Like, this is not, it's not rocket science. The games still have to matter. What? Like, they still have to matter. This game still mattered. The game last night, the Lone Star Showdown, still mattered because Marcel Reed was in a Heisman race. They were handing out like Heisman campaign pamphlets. I don't know if you saw it last night, but they had a really cool pamphlet built out for Marcel Reed. They could have won that game. If they won that game, they were going to the SEC championship game. I think it would have been the first time A&M's been in the SEC championship game since entering the SEC. So, like, this game mattered still. Your games have to matter. And if you lose a game to a bad, unranked Florida team who has fired their head coach, just hasn't looked good at all season long, even if that game is in September or October, that game still has to matter. So...
yeah, I mean, and listen, if at any point the college football playoff expands to more than 16 teams, you'll not hear us talk about the regular season the same way.
No, it'll be more like the NFL.
Yeah, it'll be a lot like the NFL. It'll be a lot like the NCAA college basketball tournament, where we just go, how good you got to be to get in, and then you're playing for seeding.
Yep.
You're trying to play to be the number 1 or 2 team, and your your part of the bracket because you want the home field, or you want to be able, the way you're going to draw your seeding. But as of right now, with a 12-team playoff, the games still, regular season games still matter. And for Steve Sarkisian to get on television and say that what he called it would be a travesty, or I mean, what are we talking? Like,
losing to Florida is a travesty.
Like, your team. Do I think they're better than they were week one? I guess.
I would say yes. And my team played them week one.
I think that the defense is really, really, really good. I think that they are aggressive. They've got an edge to them. But the offense is still not fantastic. It's just not. And that doesn't need to matter. Like, I'm not saying that. But if you lined them up right now, let me put up the college football playoff rankings.
Here you go. They already lost to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Indiana would drop 60 on their heads.
Yep.
They beat the number 3 team, but A&M should never have been number 3, but they were one of the 3 unbeaten teams left, so they were automatically there. Georgia already beat them. I would say Bama beats them. We have both been high on Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is the best team in Texas.
Texas, and they would have to outscore Tech.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you can do that.
No. Not with the way Texas defense plays. They're only giving up 12 points a game. Who's number 7? It'd be Ole Miss. Oh, I guess Oregon. They're not beating Oregon.
No.
Dan Lanning will have that team ready to go. Ole Miss, that would probably be. I would go head to head, like a talent on the field. I would compare Ole Miss and Texas pretty evenly, but I'm probably going to take Lane Kiffin over Steve Sarkisian right now. OU, they play again. I think OU wins that game, even though Texas did win the head to head already. So you kind of have to give it to them right now. Notre Dame. No, Jeremiah Love probably runs for 230.
Yeah.
I mean, BYU could maybe beat them as well, because I mean, I don't know how I feel about Miami. I don't know how I feel about Utah. I mean, once you get down to number 12, those are the teams that are in Texas's range, right? They're not perfect, but they're really good. They're not great. They're really good football teams.
And I think them and USC would be an unbelievable game.
Texas, I don't think Texas could score enough.
That's where it's going to come down to. And I'm not saying that you've got to be able to score enough, but then your defense has got to be able to, really come up with a lot of turnovers. Like, your defense is going to have to score. And, for, people, you look at this right now, a lot of these teams have one thing in common, which is a little bit different maybe than previous years. The top 10 teams right now, a lot of these teams have really good defense, like really good.
Yeah.
It's not just offense. Georgia's defense is really good. Oregon's defense is really good. Ohio State's is really good. Oklahoma's is really good. Notre Dame's really good. I don't know if they can beat any of these teams if you went in and said you're going to somehow have to score 14 to 21 points on one of the best defenses in the country. Because when Texas just got done playing one of the best defenses in the country in Georgia, they got absolutely killed.
They only scored 10 points.
Like, I don't know that they can do that. And
they only scored 7 against Ohio State.
Yeah, it's just not. And if a team with 3 losses gets in, I mean, the entire college football playoff, because what that means then is if they get in with 3 losses, one of these, either Miami, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, Utah, Vanderbilt, Michigan, one of those teams will have to drop out.
And we're also forgetting the fact that it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and right. Tulane and North Texas are still also sitting right there. Who would probably get in over because that's the issue. If you're sitting at 11, 12, 13, 14, your season's probably over right now, because we've got if those conference champions, depending on what happens in the ACC, I think Miami has a chance to get in. They have to win today, and I think Virginia has to lose and SMU has to lose in order for Miami to get into the ACC championship. You get the ACC champion, you get the American champion, and then who else would it be? The Conference USA?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be it's the 5 highest ranking conference. It's not the highest rated Power 5 group of 5 team. It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions. And when you're sitting around that, 10 and 12, 13, 14 area, if you're 3 losses and they still have to get their 15 or top ranked conference champions in, you're probably going to get left out. So I don't know that a 3-loss team gets in.
And if you want to make a case, if you're watching this, listening to this, do you want to make a case where it should just be based on the college football playoff rankings, it should just be the top 12 teams? You're sitting on a show with 3 guys that made this argument months ago, but it's not, and it's not that way. So, and there's no scenario where I look at and go, Texas could make it in. Whether you take the format of the college football, it is not too early. Whether you take the format of the college football playoff the way it is right now with the conference championships and the way that it's got to shake out, or you just said the top 12 teams. I don't think Texas is either of those things. I don't think puts Texas in. I don't think they're a top 12 team in the country, and I don't think that they're going to win. They don't have any way of getting there other than the committee trying to figure it out, and somebody on the committee try to make some sort of argument that makes them do it. Sark, say whatever you want. I get it. Like, you got to. It's fine. You want to make sure everybody knows. We'll touch on this really, really quick. If a non-quarterback does not win the Heisman this year, I am going to throw a brick through someone's window, because there is not a single quarterback in the country that is putting up enough stats. It would be a disservice and disrespect to previous Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks for a quarterback in college football to win the award this year.
100%. The only quarterback that's putting up those kinds of numbers is Drew Mestemaker out of North Texas.
Yep.
They're not giving the Heisman Trophy award, which goes to the best player in college football, to the quarterback at North Texas. So none of these quarterbacks have been outplayed. Not Arch Manning hasn't outplayed him. Julian Sain, as much as I love the kid, hasn't outplayed him. Fernando Mendoza has put up one of the most ho-hum, Heisman campaigns. He's the odds-on favorite. Last I looked, he was minus 160 to win it. Marcel Reed played himself out of the conversation last night. Diego Pavia hasn't even put up 4,000 yards of total offense. It's just, this is not the year for a quarterback to win it. And I hope that the voters think that same thing, because it's actually embarrassing if they were to go out and give this to a Heisman quarterback. We have been talking about 2 guys specifically who probably should be the ones that are considered to win this award, in Jeremiah Love running back out of Notre Dame. Depending on what he does today, I mean, he should put up another. He should have another 2. They just need to pad his stats. Like Marcus Freeman, just go out there, give Jeremiah the football, let him run up the stats. As best
an opportunity you can to put up 200 today.
Yeah, don't split the carries today. He's going pro. This is his last regular season college football game. He's going to get drafted this season. Just give him the football and let him go wild. And then the other option is Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker out of Texas Tech. He has put up unbelievably good defensive numbers. And, I mean, we just broke quorum, basically. Not quorum. Tradition? I don't know what you would say it. Last year, Travis Hunter, a two-way player who was constantly making plays, whether or not he was, putting up insane statistics, the fact that every time he was on the field, it seemed like something good happened for Colorado. That's why he won the Heisman last year. He was amazing. And we've talked about Travis Hunter on this show. Kid loves football. Kid eats, sleeps, and breathes football. He is what every football player should want to be when they grow up, is a player like Travis Hunter and someone who just loves the game like him. So I had no issue with them getting the award to him last year, because again, last year, a lot of lackluster QB play. It's been 2 straight years really of some really not exciting quarterback play. And, this year has been even more of the same. And it absolutely should not go to a quarterback this season. There hasn't been a quarterback that's earned it. There has been a running back who I think has earned it. There has been a linebacker who I think has earned it. How cool would it be for a linebacker to win that award in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, the guy that, if you look at it before the hand injury, the only quarterback in the country that was on track to throw for 4,000 yards was Mateer. He was the only quarterback on track. And he had a swag thing. He had a playmaker thing. He had everything that committees love when it comes to Heisman races. Got the grit of wanting, give me the rock when in the moments where you need one. He had all that. Since the hand injury, not the same quarterback. Anybody else, Carson Beck at the beginning of the year, we were like, man, we'll look out, because he was throwing for a lot of yards at the beginning of the season. That's it. Garrett Nussmeier never figured it out. The LSU offense has not been able to get started. Cade Klubnik just fell off the end of a cliff at the beginning of the year. So trying to then find a guy and go, well, but that's dumb. So just give it to the kid. It would mean the world to give it to a linebacker in a college football season that has been dominated by defense. Like, we've turned the corner in college football. I can remember Bob Stoops talking about this 5 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago now that I think about it, of, hey, I know this is an offensive sport right now. There's going to be a corner that's turned where defenses are going to catch up. Well, it happened in 2025. Defense is caught up. We have some of the most brilliant defensive coordinators in college football that we've had in a long, long time. And some of them are at schools that, if they had half an offense, would be national championship contenders. There's some fantastic defensive coordinators in the sport. In a year where it's dominated by defense, give it to a defensive player. Give it to Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. It will mean the world to college football. It'll be a fantastic story. He's a great kid. He plays the game like it should be played, plays with reckless abandon, but he's also the smartest player on the field whenever he's on there. So it would just mean the world, and they ought to do it. I hope Tech goes out. And we could be saying all this, and he could have a Heisman game. I mean, today is rivalry week. It's going to be crazy. There's probably going to be some close games that shouldn't be close. And if he comes out somehow and has a strip sack or an interception or whatever, makes his case for it, and then you got Jeremiah Love, if he can, run for 200 yards, and then you got conference championship week, I hope that's what happens. So
agreed. Here, let's just take a moment and look at Jacob Rodriguez statistics this season, because he has been getting offensive snaps this year, by the way.
Yeah.
For those who need to know this, he is 1 for 2. One rushing attempt for 2 yards and a touchdown. This happened 2 weeks ago, I think. Last week. He has a sack, which he's the off-ball linebacker. They don't send him on a lot of pressures. He's got 100 tackles, 55 solo tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions, 6 passes deflected, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 fumble return for a touchdown. Like, linebackers like this don't happen anymore in college football. He is the quintessential guy that when you look at what you want, like, when I remember growing up as a kid, when we had like one of my neighbors, Kelton McDougal, he was our starting linebacker, on our high school football team, and we played together from the time we were in second grade all the way through our senior season. He wanted to be that kind of linebacker. He wanted to be, I'm going to put my nose on the football wherever the ball is. I'm going to be there as well. Linebackers don't want to do that. Linebackers want to rush the quarterback now. They don't want to cover a guy down the field. They don't want to, have to tackle out on the edge. For the most part, linebackers just want to rush the quarterback, and that's just not the game that Jacob Rodriguez is playing. Jacob Rodriguez is playing like legitimate linebacker play, and I think any NFL team that decides to take a swing at him in the draft this year is going to get an absolute dog. Broncos, please. So yeah, I really like Jacob Rodriguez. He, obviously Jeremiah Love, I want to see a running back win it because I'm a former running back. I want running back to win the Heisman every single year it happens. But if it's not Jeremiah Love, it has to be Jacob Rodriguez.
No, I 100% agree. All right, we're going to get into this is our number 2. We're going to get into picking some games and talking about some of the games of today. Before we do that, if you could do me a favor, first of all, big shout out to everybody that's tuning in. We do appreciate you taking some time out of your college football rivalry week. That is a hard one. That's a hard one to say. Rivalry week.
Rivalry.
Your college football rivalry week Saturday to tune into the Waterboys College Football pregame show. Do me a favor. Download the Better app, BETR, the Better app, and use code WASHED for a special promo. They're doing a ton of special promos because we're getting into not just college football playoff weeks, but we're getting into the meat of the NFL schedule. NBA's kicking off. Thunder are the best team in the NBA by like a long shot, but they do a ton of microplay, the first real microplay app, no messy menus. It's really easy. So download the Better app, BETR, use code WASHED. I would appreciate it. We would appreciate it very, very much. All right, first game of the day. A little sad this one's not being played under the lights, but, Fox has these games, so they're going to put this one at 11 o'clock. Number 1, Ohio State at number 15, Michigan.
This game will never not be at noon.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I get why.
It's the history of the game. It will never not be at noon. I think it was because the Big House didn't have field lights until
late.
Yeah, they were one of the last school, which makes, it's a huge stadium. The technology wasn't quite there. I think that was part of the reason why they still keep the game at noon.
And I get it.
A night game for this would do numbers.
Yeah, and I get it. The Cubs were the last team to put lights at Wrigley Field by a decade or more, and so day games at Wrigley have got a special thing to them. Ohio State at number 15, Michigan. Storylines for this game have gotten a little more interesting than I thought they would. It's really, everything I could look at yesterday, all the national pundits, this is really Ohio State's game to lose.
Just like last year.
Yeah, Michigan is really going to have to play a perfect game. That being said, they have done it before. 4 times to be exact in a row. So, that's the thing that's coming into this. and we put a video out about it. First of all, big shout out to everybody on our Facebook and Instagram. Made that short hit 100,000 views.
100,000 on Facebook is crazy.
Wild. The key for this game is Matt Patricia and the Ohio State defense. I don't see Ohio State having a problem scoring enough points to win. Can they play well enough on defense? And I think Matt Patricia and the defense for the Buckeyes, I think he's probably kept a few things up his sleeve for this game.
Oh yeah, they haven't had to do much.
No,
they literally have played base over the last month and a half because they're just so much better than all the teams that they've played. Really since the start of October. I mean, even that Illinois game, they kind of just sleepwalked into a victory there.
And they didn't really have enough cohesiveness in week one for him to be able to be incredibly creative. Like week one, you're kind of having to go, I just want to see everybody do the basics great.
Yeah.
Like,
he was created at like a really advanced level. Like if you watch John Gruden talk about what Matt Patricia and the Buckeyes defense was doing against Arch Manning that week one thing, they were doing like high level like NFL stuff. But they weren't really putting a ton of pressure outside of like 4 to 5 man pressures on Arch Manning. I think that might be one of the differences in this game is, selling out to stop the run and putting pressure on Bryce. But
yeah, I mean, Bryce Underwood, worst thing it can, if you're Michigan, worst thing that happens is Matt Patricia defense is going up against a very young quarterback, very, very young. And I saw a couple of guys bring this up this week. I think it's correct. Is you look at the Oklahoma game and you look what Brent did against Underwood, and you go, well, the only other team Michigan's going to play this year that has a similar style in the way they play defense is Ohio State.
Yeah.
So Michigan hasn't either this season played anybody outside of Oklahoma's defense that is going to be able to mix up pressure, disguise coverages, and do a lot of really innovative things. They're going to, I think, going into this game, I was thinking about it last night, they're going to make Bryce Underwood beat them.
That has to be their game plan, right?
Yeah.
Like Justice Haynes is out. He's their running back 1. I think their second string running back is out. So they're down to like their 3rd and 4th guys in the run game. And I don't think people really know enough about Caden McDonald, who is the Buckeyes like nose tackle. He is like 6'3", 330 pounds. He is one of the best run stuffers I've seen on that Ohio State defensive lines since probably I wouldn't even, the Cam Howard era, maybe?
Yeah.
And that was like late 2000 or mid to late 2000s. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be tough. And teams have tried to run the football up the middle against the Buckeyes defense. They just haven't been able to do it. And so what they've had to do is start going, running outside zones type stuff, trying to get the ball out on the edge. But the issue there is Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs can all run with the best of them, sideline to sideline. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, I think, for Michigan to get their run game going in this game. And so it's going to, the only thing that they could maybe put a wrinkle in, which they haven't done a ton of this season, is like design QB runs.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Because he is quick.
He's a very athletic quarterback.
But it's hard, when you get to the outside and you're already the second level of the defense has moved up, like they're on you immediately. It's gonna turn into, can he make enough good first moves?
Yeah.
To get 5 to 6.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is he's going to take a lot of shots.
Yeah, and this Buckeyes, they tackle really, really well. They don't miss a lot of tackles this season. I mean, I think the blueprint for kind of the prototype of a quarterback that they're going up against was when we played Washington, like week 3 or week 4. Demond Williams is a very similar type of quarterback. He's very quick, very fast, great arm. But the difference there is that they had one of the best, they still have one of the better offenses in the country. I think
they were doing it out of necessity. Their offensive line is not very big.
Right. So Washington doesn't have the size that Michigan has up front.
Yeah.
But Ohio State played really well against Demond Williams' legs and, his arm. And so I just think, I think what it's going to take to beat this Michigan team for this Ohio State defense is, like you said, it's going to be Bryce Underwood is going to have to win this game with his arm.
Yeah.
I don't think Ohio State is going to allow – they're giving up 80 yards on the ground this season. Like, on average, every game, Ohio State's defense is giving up 80 yards a game. And this is – I mean, Grant, it doesn't matter. I talk about their schedule all you want. There have been teams for years who have played football. This is the first – you'll love this statistic. This is the first team – in college football since the 1985 Oklahoma Sooners to give up fewer than 17 points for their first 11 games in a season. You know how many teams have played football since 1985 to 2025? There have been so many opportunities for another team to do that, but none of them have done that. This Ohio State's defense is they're different this year. They're giving up 7.5 points a game, 80 yards rushing a game. So I think what Ohio State just really needs to do is sell out to stop the run, make Bryce Underwood beat you with his legs or with his arm. And, I think what Matt Patricia can do to make your defense looks like this pre-snap, and then as soon as the ball is in the quarterback's hands, the defense looks like this, or they look like this, or they look like this, or they look like this. The safeties drop down, the corners drop back. Like, there's so many ways that Matt Patricia can confuse a young quarterback like Bryce Underwood to make life really difficult on him. And I think, on the outside, Jermaine Matthews and Davison Igbinosun are, two really, really good cornerbacks. Michigan isn't known for having wide receiver threats. They've got that freshman. I forget what his name is. Last name is Marsh.
Yeah, he's a really good player next year.
Going to be very good. He has really come into his own over the last month. I think he's going to be returning punts for them today too. Because he's so talented. He's a true freshman. He's still young, and you're in the game. There's just a lot. Andrew Marsh, that's his name. Shout out to you, Loaded Sports. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Shout out to you, Andrew Marsh. He's awesome. Like, he's going to be really good. He's probably one of the better wide receivers that Michigan has had.
Yeah, he'll be a Buckets candidate next year. He looks just really good.
Pure wide receiver talent. But I'm gonna take the senior Davis.
Good Lord, I just gave a linebacker the.
Litnikoff. Yeah, I'm gonna give the talent, and the edge. I'm gonna give it to the senior, Davison Igbinosun, over the true freshman in the game. Especially a senior who has lost this game a couple times. He's got a little bit of, bit of stuff built up inside of him. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think the real matchup I think is going to be Wink Martindale's defense up against this Ohio State offense. I really think that's going to be kind of where this game is decided.
Michigan's got to do the same thing that Ohio State does. They got to make Julian Sand beat them. And it's a tall order for either quarterback. They're both incredibly young.
This is both of them's first. I can't remember a game where it's been both quarterbacks' first start in the game.
Yeah, and not guys that have been in the program for 2 years, like true freshmen.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask. So, it's going to be a fun one. The good thing that I will say, Ohio State, I know this game, the shoe's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest atmospheres in college football. You can take the crowd out at Michigan by just making them not be insane. Because it takes so much for that stadium to get loud. Michigan, for the love of God, do some renovations that you can funnel sound back down to the field like the rest of it do.
It's so wide out.
I mean, sound just goes out.
Yeah.
Like it's just, do it all. Listen, Oklahoma, we bowled ours in, and we were like never bowling in. No, Norman, never. And then we were like, this is dumb. It's loud now. What if we bowl it and make it to where the sound comes back in? But yeah, I mean, you can take the crowd out of it pretty easy in the big house by just going them from crazy to like normal level. It will seem like it's taking it out.
Actually, this is a great point. I have blocked the 2024 season out of my brain so much.
Unfortunately, you had to.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Davis Warren and Will Howard, that was both of their first time. Well, they weren't fresh. This wasn't like their first year starting. Like Will Howard had started 3 years before that game. I guess that's probably what I'm thinking. Not necessarily just like their first time being in this game.
You're thinking 18-year-old.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, Julian Sain is a redshirt freshman, so he's been in the building, but, he's never been to the big house before. Bryce Underwood's never played Ohio State before. Like, that's kind of the direction I'm thinking, is more of just like the younger guy getting their start in that.
And we will pick this game here in a second, but we're going to run through a couple of these games. I've got some college football playoff implications. Number 12, Miami at number 22, Pitt. Pitt coming off a couple weeks ago, real bad loss to Notre Dame. It wasn't good. They really couldn't do anything they wanted to do at all. Taking that out of it, Pitt's a good football team. They are a good football team, and they're a fun team to root for. I have there's neither of us. There's nothing. We don't have any like. I don't know if Oklahoma's ever played Pitt that I can think of off the top of my head, unless it was the 70s or 80s. So I don't have a whole lot of there's no animosity towards Pitt. Now Miami, on the other hand, Oklahoma does have a lot of history with, some of which is not good. Shout out Jimmy Johnson. But this is a really good game for Miami to prove that although their season was a roller coaster, they are one of the best teams in the country. And here's what is frustrating me about Miami this entire season. We have gone from Miami might be the second best team in the entire country early in the season. Like if you go back and watch some of the shows that we did at the beginning of the season, we were like, this Miami team. God.
I think we have a video titled "Is Miami Back?" or "Is the U Back?" Something like that.
It was like they were so good. And Carson Beck, it was like watching a grown man in a room full of toddlers.
Yeah.
Like, he was so cool and calm, collected, on-time throws, doing everything that you needed to do, whether it was at home or on the road. And then it just fell apart. Like, the wheels fell off there for a couple of weeks. Even in some of their wins, they looked not good. But Miami, I think what probably 9-2. I don't think at the time. I think you brought it up at the time, but they did play so many games in the state of Florida where there's a familiarity to it. You're not on these crazy long road trips. You got away fans that are traveling. So, there was some stuff there that makes it a little bit easier. The Louisville loss at the time didn't look bad. Louisville was really good. They're no longer ranked. But for Miami, you're really, to make the college football playoff, you're really trying to get away from the SMU loss.
Yeah, you got to win this game running away.
Yeah,
if you want to have an at-large opportunity, because I don't think, because like we've talked about it, I think Miami has to win, and SMU has to lose, and Virginia has to lose for Miami to make it into the ACC championship to try to get that automatic bid. They're looking at an at-large bid right now, and if they don't win this game running away, and they stay at 11-10 in the rankings after whatever happens today, where everything falls, I don't know that they get in. So yeah, it's gonna be tough for them. I think we're looking at like a 35-degree kickoff. It's gonna be a cold football game for those Miami boys.
Miami boys are like, good Lord.
Yeah. So yeah, they have it. They've been practicing in. I mean, Probably 80-degree weather all week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's probably been amazing.
Yeah, beautiful. Probably beautiful weather. I mean, we're talking 80-degree Thanksgiving. That's great, which is crazy.
And you can simulate crowd noise.
You can't simulate cold.
I don't think you can crank the AC low enough in your indoor facility to simulate. Guys, it's going to be 35 degrees when we get which means no matter what we do, the ball is going to feel like it's hard as a rock. Like it's going to feel slick no matter what we do. Like, and that's so hard to it's so hard to get guys used to when you don't have to do that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else let's see. Oregon, Washington. This is a bad game for Oregon.
It is. This is like the only place that Dan Lanning has struggled in his time as the head coach of Oregon.
Listen, Washington's a weird place. Like, teams go up there and you because it's so far to the northeast or northwest that it's so far off of college football's radar that you get up there and you go, this place is loud. These fans are crazy. I didn't expect this. And Dan Lanning and Oregon have struggled at Washington before. It's a 2:30 kick. It's probably going to be a little cold, which is not going to matter except for
40, mid-40s, mid to upper 40s, 46, 47.
A little bit of wind probably in Washington. But yeah, Oregon, I see Dan Lanning is one of the best things about Dan Lanning is game adjustments.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in college football. I see him probably knowing that they need a statement today. And because he's sitting at that sixth spot in the college football playoff is a weird spot for your seeding and who you're going to end up playing. Like it's a weird one. You could have a weird draw on it.
Yeah, number 9 could be a really, really good football team.
Yeah, you can end up playing like the number 9 could be an SEC team that
would it be 9 or 10?
Be 10 probably.
Yeah,
which 10, that you look at it if it played right now 10. You might find yourself playing Alabama. Not a great draw. You need to get back up into the top 5 today, and so that you've got a little bit better draw on it. Washington scores a ton of points. They're a ton of fun to watch. And so that one, Oregon's best bet is to try to get Washington to keep it on the ground, and sell out for the run. And then if you're Oregon, hey, go for broke, baby.
Yeah, big Dante Moore game today. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yep.
In this football game, I think Oregon has a really good defense that people aren't really giving enough credit to. Dan Lanning's got them boys playing right now. I mean, their only loss was that 10-point loss to, an undefeated 12-0 Indiana team, that's heading straight for Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game. And if Oregon goes out and handles business, and Ohio State doesn't win today, Oregon's going to the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, big game
to get a rematch against their only loss. So, they're playing for something today.
Oregon does a great job at keeping everything in front of them. I think they learned in the Indiana game that that's more important even than the turnovers and the sacks is keeping everything in front of you when you're playing these high-powered offenses. Keep it in front of you. Make them, do a ton of RPO, bubble screen stuff.
Yeah.
And if they can do a lot of that today, and Dante Moore has a good game, it should be a ton of fun to watch. This is just weird that this is the game for me. I'm still, as an Oklahoma fan, it's just weird that I'm like LSU's coming to Norman today, and it kind of sucks that LSU's season fell apart because week 4
this game was going to be awesome.
We were like, this game might be for who's the number 2 or 3 team in the country. Like, this is going to be unbelievable. It doesn't mean quite that much now. LSU's playing for pride, but if you're Oklahoma, you need a game where you can show people, hey, the offense, although it's taken a little bit, we've had to redo some things, we've had to change some things up. Mateer hasn't, he's gotten better. I will say that he's gotten better as the weeks have gone. they have figured out they have a wide receiver threat in Satania.
He's so fast, dude.
That guy, that guy's like Marquise Brown speed.
He's got wheels.
That has been a while since I've seen a guy, and that puts him in rare company. Unless you're a college football nut like us, Oklahoma had a string of wide receivers that were like all dudes that could run. It's been a while since I've seen one that pulls away like he can. That crossing route, there was no chance anybody was catching him last week. So if you're Oklahoma, you just need to come out today and show that you can put together a really good offense. It's still an LSU defense. At the end of the day, that is still an LSU defense. They're still really talented. I haven't heard that Weeks is playing. I don't think he is. But they're still really fast. They hustle to the ball. They play with a lot of speed. So it could be still a really good win for Oklahoma if they pull it out today and look really good. And they need to for the committee's sake, because they are sitting there with 2 losses. And everybody and their mother's trying to figure out a way to put Texas in there for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, Tennessee. This may be the most fun game to watch all day.
Yeah. I looked it up earlier this week when we were talking about this game. This is the first time since like 1950 that both of these teams are ranked in the top 25 going into this matchup. Like, you want to talk about like a relevant game in November for Vanderbilt and Tennessee? Wow. I mean, this is the battle for Tennessee supremacy. Who is the best team in Tennessee? We're gonna find that out today. I think it's gonna be a really fun football game. We're looking at 2 really good offenses. Diego Pavia, Joey Aguilar. It's gonna be fun to watch. I'm probably gonna put my trust behind Josh Heupel in this football game. But I mean, again, Vanderbilt is not your grandma's Vanderbilt. Like, they're a very different Vanderbilt team. Do I think that they're a top 15 team in the country? No, but that's where they're ranked, and they are a top 25 team. And this is going to be like start to finish. This is going to be a really fun football game to watch.
Yeah, state championship for the state of Tennessee. And it'll be a fun one because there'll be a ton of celebrities from the country music world. And Theo Vaughn, I'm sure, will be on the sidelines trying to get a date still with Diego Pavia's mom.
Hasn't he landed one?
I thought it was like a shoe. I thought they had made a deal. But, which, by the way, I think the cameras discovered like 2 weeks ago that his mom's attractive. Now, every time Vanderbilt plays, they're like, where's Diego Pavia's mother?
Yeah.
So weird. Now, a game that is, of all the rivalry games in the country, outside of the game up north and OU Texas, there is one game where there is precedent that says you can throw the rankings out.
Yep.
And
this is one of them.
This is the Iron Bowl. Everyone remembers the kick 6. I mean, it is a weird game. There is real old-fashioned hate in this rivalry, very similar to like a Texas A&M hate, but with a lot more national exposure.
Yeah, shout out Harvey Updike.
Yeah. I mean, they hate each other with great reason, and they should. Alabama needs this one badly today.
Badly.
Like, if they come out of this and they need a win, but they also need to distance themselves. By the fourth quarter, they need to be up a few scores by the time this game's over. Auburn is a team you do not want to let this get close. Their defense is very underrated.
It's a good defense.
Yeah, they play really fast. They're incredibly disciplined. Open field tackling is really solid. They can make it really, really frustrating for you. And Alabama hasn't looked the same on defense as they did, or on offense, I should say, as they did a couple of weeks ago. They've struggled a little bit against good, solid defenses that can put some pressure on a quarterback. So, yeah, they need this one today. They are the 6:30 kick, which is great for them. The only other game happening, that anybody is going to care about or be watching is UCLA USC. And so, you've got all the national eyeballs on you. And Alabama's got a chance today to make a statement. They're still playing for college football playoff hopes. And Kellen DeBoer, if they lose this game today, the fire Kellen DeBoer thing is coming right back immediately, and it's going to get hot in Tuscaloosa.
100%. Yeah, this is one you said it. This is one of those sneaky rivalry games where anything can happen. I think Nick Saban believes that Jordan Hare is haunted. I'm pretty sure. There's been some weird stuff that's happened in the Iron Bowl over the years. So I actually think this is going to be a lot better of a football game than a lot of people expect. I mean, Alabama's getting 5.5 on the road. That's a close spread. That's not even a touchdown. That's
right.
They're getting 2 field goals on the road in a game where they're playing a team that's not even bowl eligible yet. And, Bama's trying to, solidify their spot in the college football playoff. There's no reason that Bama should be a 5.5 point favorite unless there's something about this Auburn team. The odds makers obviously see something here in this game. So this is going to be a fun game. This is outside of Oregon. I think this is my other upset alert probably going into this week is like Alabama. You better pay attention because this Auburn team is not as bad as their 5-6 record shows. I really don't think that they are.
Yep. All right, we're going to go through here and pick these games. Do us a favor. Let us know in the chat as we're picking these games. Pick them along with us, or let us know what you think of our picks. You can tell us we're morons. We trust me. You're not going to say anything in these comments. I mean, you can get banned for sure, but you're not going to say anything in these comments. It's too crazy. We've been making videos about Indiana all year. Number 12, Miami. At number 22, Pitt. Miami needs this one badly. Carson Beck needs to play like the Carson Beck that we saw weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and show why he was the answer to helping settle down Miami and give Mario Cristobal his coaching seat to cool down quite a bit. And but they are playing a Pitt team that is really, really good. They're playing in cold weather. I am taking Miami in this one, but I think it's going to be an incredibly close one from the Kings.
Yeah, Miami's favored by 7 points in this one. They got the points total at 49.5 going in to this game. I don't know. This one feels a little weird to me. I think Miami wins it, but I think it's going to be a little bit too close for comfort. So if I was going to put money on this, which I'm not, but if I was going over to the Better app, I would probably take Pitt plus 7 on this one. I think Pitt covers, but I still think Miami wins this one.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I wasn't like super excited to pick it. By the way, we're going to pick the Ohio State Michigan game last because it should just be that way. That's the way that it should be. We're going to do these a little bit out of order. Number 6, Oregon at Washington. We talked about it earlier. This is a little bit of a trap game. Washington can put up a lot of points. Dan Lanning really needs to have them ready to play. I am taking Oregon in this one. I'm kind of hoping for a shootout. I'm kind of hoping that's what it comes to. I think it'd be a fun game. This may be the first time some people watch Washington play all year long. Rivalry Saturday, and they're going to flip that one on. My hope is the reason is because within the first half hour of the Oklahoma LSU game, everyone is like, well, this game's over. Let me go. What other games are on? For my sake, anyway. So I'm taking Oregon in this one, and I'm taking them probably by 14. I think Oregon's out to make a statement today.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. I think they're going to have to come out swinging. You mentioned it. That Washington crowd is going to be crazy. They have sailgates.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. They have that little harbor right outside the stadium, and they get boats just pulled in there, and they anchor down, and that's where they have their tailgates. It's amazing. Great atmosphere for college football. But yeah, I think this Oregon team is out to prove something. I think that they're going to win this one pretty handily. And I don't think it's going to be close at all. But the thing Oregon needs to watch out for, if Washington comes out and punches them in the mouth, might be tough there because that crowd gets into it. It's gonna be tough. But it's not like Oregon's not played in front of massive crowds before.
That's true. LSU at number 8, Oklahoma coming to Norman. Weather today is going to be. Let me check it again.
It's weird out there in the Midwest today.
Yeah.
It's wet and cold in the Midwest.
Wet and cold today. Low at 27, high of 55 today.
What time does this kick off? 2:30. Looks like it'll be 50 something. 53.
Yeah. 15-mile-an-hour winds. So it could be fun. No precipitation today. That comes Monday. So they got a little bit lucky there. I think Oklahoma is the favorite in this game, and I think they should
10.5.
Yeah, this one is really going to come down to Oklahoma needs to, like we were talking earlier, needs to make a statement that the offense is productive. I would like to see less RPO today. I'd like to see them just line it up and try to throw the ball a little bit today. You figured out you've got some weapons in wide receiver. Arbuckle, I'd love to see him mix up the routes a little bit and try to get some chunk plays early to create some momentum. They do have a couple of decent running backs that they have found. It's just taken the entire season to figure it out, which is frustrating for me as a fan. But so I'm taking Oklahoma in this one, but they need to really make a statement today to solidify that spot in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I think OU is going to win big in this one. I think I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is playing in this game.
I don't think he is either.
So they're going with the young guy. I can't remember his name, which is a really tough pull against the OU defense. I think OU wins this one by a lot to a little. I don't know what the score is going to be, but OU's going to have a lot, and LSU's going to have a little.
From your mouth to God's ears. Let's see here. What else we got? Vanderbilt, Tennessee. This one's a wild one.
All right, let me give you the spread and the points total on this one. Tennessee's favored by 2.5 points at home. The points total is 66.5 points scored in this game.
Take the over.
Someone play defense, please.
Yeah, this one really is going to come down to Josh Heupel. He's one of the best play callers in college football. Great offensive mind. He's a football guy, which is obvious when you look at him on the sideline and then try to realize that man at one time was the quarterback of a national championship team.
Fantastic quarterback.
And you're like, dude, are you sure you play offensive line? No. He quit playing football and was like, also never going to see a gym ever again in my entire life.
Barbecue tastes good.
Yeah, that guy, he plays football, or he coached football. That's all he does. Vanderbilt can make this game close if Diego Pavia has a Diego Pavia game. They do a lot of letting him scramble around and make plays, but I see Tennessee winning this one. It could, in my head, this could be one of those games that turns out to be way lower scoring than it's supposed to be, and it could be really ugly. But I probably am taking Tennessee by at least a touchdown here.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of feeling the same a little bit. I think Neyland's going to be rocking. The stadium's going to be rocking. It's going to be a really fun atmosphere today, but I think Diego Pavia is going to get a really great first drive in, and they're going to take the crowd out of it early on. So I think I'm going to take Vanderbilt in this game. Give me Vandy to win this one, which will be interesting. That'll give Vandy a 10th win. Does that put Vandy in the playoffs? Who knows? We'll see what happens. That's up to the committee, not to me.
Yep, that is not our job. Thanks, Scott. Number 10, Alabama at Auburn. Alabama has every reason in the world to thump the living dog snot out of Auburn. Can they do it, though? Because this game gets weird. The ghosts of years gone past haunt this rivalry. It could be really interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you what's going to make it. If Cam Newton somehow shows up on the sideline at Auburn, I may think, you know what, we could be in trouble. Like Auburn, Alabama could be in trouble. Cam Newton doesn't show up and doesn't bring that bad juju in for Alabama. Maybe it doesn't mean a whole lot, but Alabama needs to make a statement today. They're playing for a college football playoff. They're playing for a seed. Either way, if Alabama and Oklahoma get in, they're going to play a really tough opponent in the first round either way. But if you're Alabama, you really want to go into the college football playoff with some momentum, being able to point at a game and say, hey, look what we did in rivalry week. We put up a bunch of points. We thumped the living dogs not out of Auburn, in Auburn. So that's what they're probably looking for today. I'm taking Alabama in a close one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Bama wins this one. I think it's going to be a dogfight. Probably one of the better rivalries in college football, just year in and year out. I mean, Auburn really hasn't had a win in this one in a minute. And I think that kind of stays the same this year, but I think it's going to be a fight to the very end. So, yeah, give me the Crimson Tide in this one. They're favored by 5.5 points, so I think that they'll probably win by a touchdown, maybe a touchdown and a field goal.
This will be last game we're picking, but the first game of the day, number 1 Ohio State at number 15 Michigan. Ohio State got a lot to prove to themselves, to their fan base. This doesn't change any. If Ohio State somehow drops this game, this doesn't change anything for their college football playoff hopes.
Unless they get blown out.
Yeah, but you can't, you have, this is just one of those, just to shut up the dumb Ohio State fans. And saying that, Oklahoma is some of the most unintelligent, idiotic fans in college football. I mean, we have some of the worst. Every fan base has got this pocket of fans that are just morons. And I'm talking, Ohio State has theirs. The problem is they're real loud. And Ryan Day loses this one, and then all of a sudden this narrative starts that doesn't really need to exist. It doesn't change anything about it. They lost this game last year. They still won a national championship. But this one is for just good old fashioned hate and pride. And you need to come out there and thump Michigan. We talked about it. Ohio State's defense, the key for really making this one not close is making Bryce Underwood make plays with his feet and make on-time throws. It's going to be an incredible thing that they have to do. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm looking for Ohio State. If they can make this a 2-score game, I think that means a lot for this game and the rivalry. And you, as a fan, don't have to hear them talk for the next year. It's a lot more fun. Like I'm already here. Like, Oklahoma gets in the college football playoff. All I'm going to have to hear from Texas fans, yeah, but she didn't beat us. Yep,
like, and we just won the national championship, and we're still hearing that from last season. So, yeah, it's been since before COVID since I've experienced a win in this game as a fan. It's been a long time, like a really long time. And, last year was such a disappointment. I don't think I have ever – I was actually laying in bed thinking about this last night. I lost some heartbreakers when I was playing Pee Wee. I remember the playoff game against Wyandotte, Oklahoma, in our Pee Wee 6th grade playoffs game before we had a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. They beat us by a touchdown. That was a heartbreaker. I remember my high school career, lost a couple heartbreakers, suffered a few injuries, lost some really close games that we shouldn't have lost in there. My high school career ended at home in a freezing cold setting against who did we even? I don't even remember who we played. We played Pulaski. No, it was Pine Bluff Dollar. I don't remember who it was. They beat us, and it ended my high school career. We lost some heartbreakers in college. I've watched the Denver Broncos blow a lead in an AFC Championship game to the Baltimore Ravens. I've watched Ohio State lose to LSU in the national championship. I've watched Ohio State lose to Florida in the national championship. I've watched Ohio State get blown out by Alabama in the college football playoff. I watched Ohio State miss a field goal in the first round of the college football playoff right as the clock struck midnight several years ago against Georgia. And still, I have never left a game more angry and discombobulated as I did last season when I was walking out of Tanner's Sports Bar down on Southwest Boulevard in Kansas City, Kansas. I think I lost my voice. I was screaming the entire way home. I could not believe what I had just witnessed. I have never been more mad after a game like that. And so I'm ready for this football game to take place. I'm ready for it to happen. Ohio State is the better football team. Ohio State has been the better football team for the better part of several decades, sans maybe 2 seasons where we were in a little bit of a quarterback limbo. This game is going to, I don't think Michigan is as good as they are ranked. I really don't think. I have been kind in my analysis of the Michigan Wolverines all week, all season long. They're a good football team. I don't think that they are as good as people think that they are this year. The two times they've played anybody that had a pulse, they've lost both of those games. Ohio State is the best team in the country. They are going to prove that they are the best team in the country in this football game. And Ohio State is going to walk in and they are going to dominate from start to finish in this game. They're going to win this one. This is hilarious. I was actually watching John Gruden last night. I've already posted my prediction on TikTok before I watched John Gruden's quarterback breakdown last night. He has the exact same points prediction as me. Ohio State's going to win this football game 31-17. And it's not going to be as close as that score even tells us. It's going to be the first time opponents scored 17 points on Ohio State. And I'm only giving them that 1 point over 16 because it's a rivalry game. So it's Ohio against the world. It's always been Ohio against the world, and it's going to be a massive W for the Buckeyes to win this one and get to 12-0 to go play the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten Championship game in Indianapolis next week at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's how it should be. It's how it's going to be, and I am so ready for this kickoff to happen in 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 25 seconds.
Yeah, it's there's times where you have a rivalry game where you're just looking for a win. There's times where you're looking for a thumping. This is today. Ohio State needs a thumping. They need an absolute thumping of Michigan. You're 100% correct. Michigan, they struggle against really good defenses. The problem this year is they only have played a couple. And when they've had to play teams that had a really good defense, they've not only struggled, they've gotten beat. So, Michigan is playing with the ghosts of last year. Their locker room is, hey, 4 years in a row, baby. We've been told we're going to lose 4 years in a row, and we keep figuring out a way to win. This one's at home. The home atmosphere at the big house, not the same as the shoe, but it's still a home atmosphere. It's still pretty loud. Those fans have probably been tailgating, I'm assuming, since about 7 a.m. this morning.
It's been cold too, which shout out to them. There's been the amount of people that I've seen that made the drive down last night, or they're ready to go, because it's not a far drive from Columbus to Ann Arbor.
No, it's an easy one. Do that one in the morning, get there in time. It's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, now if you've got any hot takes, drop those in the comments. We got a couple of minutes here before we got to. Are you watching it at home, or are you going somewhere to watch today?
I'm shutting my phone off, and I am locking myself in my house, and I'm going to have the TV on about 30 volume, and I don't care if the police get called from my neighbors because of how loud I'm screaming at my TV. It's rivalry week. I don't want to be around anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to hear from anyone. I already said my piece to my dad last night. Dad, I don't know if you're still watching, if you guys made it to Branson or not. I love you, but today I don't like you. Go Bucks.
I love you. I just don't like you today. Want to take a minute and say a big shout out. I don't know how many people are watching on Facebook. It looks like a lot. Our Facebook page has crossed over the 3,000 follower mark. I want to give a big, huge shout out to everybody on Facebook over there. That was not something we saw coming into this college football season. I'll be honest, we almost ignored Facebook. Like, just almost ignored it because I just don't. It wasn't on our radar. But the college football fans have really showed out. Big shout out to specifically Ohio State fans, Oklahoma fans, Tech fans, Texas Tech fans. You guys have been a breath of fresh air for us this college football season.
They've been awesome.
Yeah, so kind, so sweet. How many times people, hey, thanks for talking about us. Nobody else is doing it. We appreciate what you guys are doing. Indiana fans and Clemson fans, you guys can kick rocks.
Still not wrong about Clemson, by the way.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the apology comments for us coming at Clemson at the very beginning of the year. And then also a big shout out to everybody on YouTube. Crossed over 1,000 subs on YouTube. We appreciate that very, very much. That is going to allow us to do some really cool things on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you sub to that. Next week is Conference Championship Week. You're out of town next week.
I'll be in Jamaica, baby. Surely I'll be able to find. I'm sure that they'll have the Big Ten Championship on somewhere at some point. And again, if Ohio State goes down and freaking craps it down their leg again this year, I won't even have to worry about finding the TV to watch the Big Ten Championship next year. So who knows?
It was Pine. Your dad says it was Pine Bluff Dollar.
Pine Bluff Dollarway. That's right. I couldn't remember if it was a Pulaski Robinson or a Pine Bluff Dollarway.
Next week I will be here solo. For those of you that are watching, that you're like, does that mean it's going to be good? I did radio by myself for a long, long time. Oh, it'll be.
Aaron knows what he's doing, chat.
I can do this. But I would love to have as many people show up in the chat as possible. You can be the co-host of the show next week because the Conference Championship Week is going to be incredibly packed. There are a lot of teams, conference champions, with the way the college football playoff is set up. Sound like Kevin Hart there. With the way my bank account is set up. The way the college football playoff is set up, conference championship means something. Which, by the way, for all of us wanting to go back to the BCS era, I can remember when conference champions didn't mean diddly poop. Didn't mean a hill of beans in the BCS era at all.
Well, even the 4-team era, it really didn't mean that much.
No, it didn't mean anything either because you weren't going to get enough losses. It wasn't going to matter at all. So that's going to be really interesting. And then we will start our once conference championship week is over, we will start our college football playoff coverage and looking to do some special things, maybe some watch-alongs for college football playoff because it's going to be a wild one. The team that wins the college football playoff this season is going to be a team that has really earned it this year, whether they come out of the Big Ten, whether they come out of the SEC, whether Texas Tech and the Big 12 pull an absolute stunner. And
how crazy would that be?
No team is going to come out of this unscathed this season. Even if you win all your games, you're going to be able to point, to games where you go, man, they could lose, which is fun. That's the way. Parity is great. I say that as a college football blue blood fan who sometimes the parity gets under my skin because we don't
have all the talent anymore.
Really rather beat everybody 50 and have 4 stars that are on our third string. So it's going to be a really, really fun last couple of weeks to the college football playoff. If you haven't yet, subscribe to us. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure that you what do they follow? Is this why
I think
we
it's
don't
follow.
I think
it's follow everywhere that's not YouTube. YouTube is subscribe.
Yeah. So
everywhere else is follow.
Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube.
Maybe it's a like on Facebook. I don't even know.
We're
live on Twitter right now. We're over on Twitter. We're over on TikTok. So we're pretty much everywhere. You're on social media every day.
And while you're at it, download the Better app, BETR. Download the Better app. Use code WASHED, WASHED, code WASHED, and you will get a special promo. They're running a ton of them through the rest of college football season into the rest of NFL and NBA season. And then, and then the biggest thing that happens for if you are a person that likes to put some money on some stuff, the NCAA tournament is coming in just a couple of months. You say, Aaron, it's all the way in March. It's hard for me to believe that it is.
It's almost Christmas, Chet.
Yeah, like Thanksgiving was just the other day. So a lot of stuff coming. Appreciate you very, very much. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Make sure that you check back with us next Saturday, 8 a.m. And we will talk about a little bit of recapping some of what happened today. And go Sooners, go Buckeyes,
go Bucks.
Who else do I really need to win today? Auburn, if you could do me a favor, if you love me, you could just beat Alabama today.
That would be crazy.
That would really make my and Longhorn fans, you still suck. Hate you. All right, have a fantastic rest of your college football rivalry week. Saturday, we'll catch you next Saturday, 8 a.m. Central, right here on Waterboys College Football.